Hey, hey, hey. Happy Thursday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everybody. Tonight is Thursday, June 19th, 2025. This is live stream 1203. If you're not overly familiar with the show, it's super casual around here. We are certainly not engaged in anything along the lines of rocket surgery. Nope, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And then I will usually take a first look at a game or maybe pontificate about a topic related to our hobby. Every once in a while, we just hang out, talk about the news, and just deal with people and chat. That is not what we're doing tonight, though. Tonight, we are going to dive on in. We are going to take a first look at Ruthless Heavens, Boundless Fate from Blackoath Entertainment. Kind of interesting looking book here. In fact, it's got a bit of a Mobius art style to the cover, which I found to be kind of striking. So I thought that was kind of cool. We're going to dive on into this in just a bit. If you are tuning in for that first look, let me point out we always take care of the tabletop gaming news first around here. So it's probably going to be around 35, maybe 40 minutes before we get into that first look. So if you're watching live, just kick back, put your feet up, relax. We will get to that first look. If you are tuning in after the fact, maybe you're watching this on Memorex, keep in mind there are timestamps. They are located in the show notes and might even be right there in the timeline of the video, depending on the device you're watching this on. Now, of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for a latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Now, of course, because this is a live show, there is chat available. Now, you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 10 minutes before you can take part in chat. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you happen to check that box and you want to say howdy, maybe get a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my very best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Semper Buffo. W. Forge is also with us this evening. Spelling Mistake is also chiming on in, and I would not be surprised if the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D is lurking in the shadows as our chat moderator, she of the glittery banhammer. So watch out. I'm going to take a guess. It's probably going to be a little quieter show tonight because this is from a pretty small publisher. Not a lot of people know about this, but we'll find out. We'll see. We'll see what's cooking. So let's jump on into the news, get things rolling, because Warhammer, the old world role-playing game, is now available for pre-order from Cubicle 7 Games. I got the scoop. Welcome to the world of legend. The Empire is locked in unending war. Beyond the light of civilization, its armies clash with furious beastmen, marauding orc and goblin tribes, and accursed sorcerers. Perhaps you thought yourself safe from such horrors, far from the front lines, hidden behind tall walls and lofty promises. Such lies no longer comfort you. You have seen the face of true evil, the corruption of chaos, the dead return to life, or the blind and grasping greed of the Empire's own citizens. Worse, that evil has seen you too, and marked you as a witness to be silenced. So to survive, you must find your courage take up arms and fight back against the ravening hordes. If fate is kind, you will rise to glory and vanquish your foe. If not, the Garden of Moor will have your corpse. The 192-page full-color Player's Guide hardcover contains everything players need to begin their adventures in Warhammer the Old World role-playing game. Everything you need to create a character, including 6 origins and 30 iconic careers, from cunning rat catchers to tarnished knight exiles. An introduction to the world of legend, the beloved setting of the Old World tabletop war game. The grim and glorious rules, not grim and perilous. A fast-paced, easy-to-learn D10 dice pool system with all the lethality you'd expect of gaming in the old world. Options to customize your character, including 18 skills to advance, dozens of talents and lores to learn, trappings and assets to purchase, and endeavors to pursue in downtime. Also, rules for magic, both lists of spells your wizard can memorize and rules for casting your own improvised spells. Their favors, prayers, and miracles bestowed by 10 of the gods. Now, the 192-page full-color Game Master's Guide hardcover provides Game Masters with tools and guidance used when running the game. Combined with the core rules in the Player's Guide, it's everything your group needs for a Warhammer the Old World role-playing game campaign. It's going to include practical expert Game Master advice for first-time Game Masters, specific to the system and setting of the Warhammer the Old World role-playing game. Directions on how to use tools like your Grim Portent, the contacts, not contracts, and dark threads of connected NPCs to create an amazing campaign experience that engages your players. Embellishment of the core setting of Talagod and its inhabitants, along with guidance on how to adapt your campaigns to other settings. There's also rules for magic items, downtime events, and paths to corruption that you can use to surprise your players. It also includes a massive bestiary of allies and adversaries, including not just dozens of NPC profiles, but named examples of those types with plot hooks, agendas, and conspiracies to use in your game. Each book with PDF will carry an MSRP of $44.99. Like I said, you can pre-order now. The expected ship date is the first quarter of next year. Now, the PDFs should be available very shortly after you place your order. So as of right now, as of this recording, I shouldn't say recording, it's a stream. I'm not recording this. YouTube's recording this. Anyway, the Player's Guide is out in PDF over at DriveThruRPG. The Game Master's Guide is not. Now, I don't know if that's just a mishap going on right now, or maybe we're going to see that Game Master's Guide very shortly or further down the line. I don't know, because originally the PDFs were supposed to arrive in July. So they are early, so that is cool. Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Melwinius from York is with us, said, Ruthless Heavens, Boundless Fate, good choice. They've bought across 1,000 stars from Blackoath, and it's great. Sean O'Donnell is joining us, as well as Roger Perdome. Welcome to you both. Good to see you once again. Gotta say, I am curious about Warhammer, the Old World role-playing game. You notice how it's not Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay? Like Age of Sigmar is Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, Age of Sigmar. A little different verbiage there. Of course, we already know this uses a brand new set of mechanics to run the game. And as mentioned in the news piece there, it is a D10 dice pool system. All right, moving right along. Now arriving in stores for Adventures in the Household 5e is Such Small Matters. Here's the lowdown from Two Little Mice. The Fragile Peace is a 5-year-long period beginning with the institution of a so-called High Council and ending when the shadow of a new war appears. It was in these years, so rife with old disagreements, great revolutions, and diplomatic incidents, that household history was made. And these years are also the backdrop for all the adventures you and your friends will play through. This book will lead you through the years of the Fragile Peace, following in the footprints of 24 noteworthy littlings. Such Small Matters is an expansion for Adventures in the Household 5e. It contains a collection of characters and adventures that weave together to create a great saga. In the book, you're going to find 24 ready-to-play characters, 6 ready-to-play adventures, 60 adventure outlines to build your own saga, as well as a timeline of household history. This 208-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $50. I don't think it includes a PDF. Gotta be honest, I don't believe it does, because you're actually ordering from Studio 2 Publishing is who handles Two Little Mice, at least with household and adventures in the household here in North America. But like I said, I don't think you get the PDF. But if you want to just grab the PDF, you can certainly do so over at DriveThruRPG for $20. As I'd mentioned previously, I would love to take a peek at Household or even Adventures in the Household 5e. Mechanically, it doesn't matter which system we'd be looking at. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Moving right along, there is a spooky good deal over on Bundle Holding. It features Raven, a gothic horror role-playing game from Spanish publisher Shadowlands Games. And I've got the deets on the deal. Oh, cursed one. This all-new Shadowlands Raven bundle presents, you guessed it, Raven, the tabletop role-playing game of gothic horror from Spanish publisher Shadowlands Games, inspired by the macabre tales of Edgar Allan Poe. You and your fellow Corvus family aristocrats, tormented necromancers, obsessed summoners, unsouled beings, guilt-ridden lunatics, trapped ghosts, immortal mesmerists, and even poets, have plagued the 19th century city of Raven with your forbidden magic. Whether in the laboratories of your vast mansion, on the specter-haunted city streets, or in the land of dead souls on the other side, you seek treasures, evade the lurking threats of the vigilant order in the lodge, uncover the mysteries of Raven's past, and pursue your obsession, your beloved who harbors dark secrets just as you do. Your beloved may not even be currently alive, but to a Corvus, that's no impediment. Raven, a gothic horror role-playing game, captures the graveyard beauty of Poe and the rising disquiet of 19th century Victorian ghost tales. The Corvus family is all important. Everything that happens in a Raven scenario happens to or because of a Corvus character. Their mansion holds endless, tantalizing secrets, and the servants aren't talking. Magic is subtle, personal, corrupting, and always requires a sacrifice. When tension has risen to its utmost, the story-driven Maelstrom system decides the outcome of an entire scene with one die roll. And among its other virtues, Raven will definitely teach you the word tenebrous. Shaw from the light, dark, shadowy, causing gloom. This all-new offer gives you the entire Shadowlands Games Raven line to date in both English and Spanish language versions. Everything you need to create your own tales of doomed families, lost loved ones, self-destructive obsession, mesmerism, catalepsy, doppelgangers, and cats. Lots of cats. For just $12.95, you'll get all 3 titles in the Raven collection, which has a retail value of $55.50 as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete 266-page, beautifully illustrated Raven core rulebook, plus the free quick start and character booklets, as well as the 8 scenario collection Tenebrous Cats and Forgotten Tombstones, and the Tenebrous Voice Game Master screen. These savings run through July 2nd. I gotta say, this looks intriguing. The artwork kind of reminds me a little bit of Vaesen from Free League Publishing. I actually did take a peek. It is not the same artist. In fact, if I remember correctly, I think it's Johan Egerkrans who does the art for Vaesen. But no, this looks kind of unique. Pretty interesting. And $12.95? Come on. They're practically giving it away. And it's also in Spanish, except for I think it's the character booklets. I think the character booklets are only in English, but everything else is English and Spanish. So kind of cool. All right, moving right along. Nightfall Games is in the middle of a successful Kickstarter to bring the second book in the Musketeers versus Cthulhu series to the public. And here's what I know about all the Cardinals men. Once again, Nightfall Games returns to the swashbuckling world of Musketeers versus Cthulhu in the second book in this Emmy-nominated series. And we're talking about all the Cardinals men. Whether you choose to continue your game with the inseparable Musketeers you played in the first book, or join the Cardinals' network of spies from this new book, you'll be thrust once more into eldritch plots, courtly intrigues, and epic battles. The time has come once more for daring deeds against impossible foes. It is time for you to join the battle against Cthulhu in All the Cardinals' Men. This 112-page A5 size hardback book includes the second Musketeers versus Cthulhu campaign and everything you need to play as members of L'Etoile. Its characters, story, and missions are fully compatible with Musketeers versus Cthulhu, meaning you can replay the first mission again with new characters or bring your old ones to this. Nightfall Games has worked with book design experts to ensure this product includes easy-to-read formats and continues to call back to the beautiful tomes we read as kids. This book includes pick-up-and-play pre-generated character sheets and enable you to play as one of the Cardinals' legendary agents, Rochefort, Milady de Winter, and Biccara. Rules to create your own agents and manage the intrigues of courtly espionage, English, Jeff. 10 pages of allies, enemies, and monsters. 3 pages of all new spells and artifacts, including the Mask of Parmesan and the Shinan Covenants. And for when all else fails, stats for 17th century artillery. Plus, there's a 4-part campaign where you, the agents of the Cardinal, must storm the Bastille, face the cannons of La Rochelle, and rescue the king himself from the infamous Chateau d'If. There is a short Kickstarter video that's going to give you a closer look.
La Rochelle, where mighty Richelieu lays siege on man and monster alike. Buckingham and his foul allies, the Deep Ones, are seeking to destroy any hope of a unified France. As cannons roar and the sorcerers hiding within bring down dark sorceries, you are tasked with delivering victory. No, mes amis, not as one of those valiant blue tabards. No, in this adventure, you don the red. Join Richelieu as one of L'Etoile, his secret network of spies, and be the scalpel to the Musketeers' cannonball. For you are all the Cardinals' men. Based on the writings of me, Claudia Christian, and my co-writer Chris McCauley, All the Cardinals' Men is a standalone continuation of Musketeers vs. Cthulhu. In this adventure, you can choose to continue the occult adventures of the Three Musketeers or take on new roles, serving the king through subtler means. Inside, you will find an epic campaign of adventure, taking you from the battlefields of La Rochelle to the intrigues of the Louvre, from the island prison Chateau d'If to the mighty Bastille. Can you liberate the realm from the malevolent Deep Ones and their allies, the Court of Chaos? Find out with all the Cardinal's men.
The Kickstarter for All the Cardinal's Men is miles beyond its funding goal, and you can reserve a copy of the book for a pledge of approximately $34. You can score just PDF for a pledge of approximately $17 through July 3rd. Expected delivery is this October. Hooray! A Kickstarter that's got a quick turnaround for a change. Very nice. Now, of course, I did share some images from Musketeers versus Cthulhu because there were only 3 images that I could use on the Kickstarter page for All the Cardinal's Men. You may also recall I reviewed Musketeers versus Cthulhu. I liked it. I thought it was a little more combat heavy than I would have liked. I would have liked to have seen a little more kind of investigatory kind of action there. But still, all in all, I thought it was pretty interesting, and I'm glad to see it is continuing with All the Cardinal's Men. Russell Higgins is with us, as is Tasty Trekkie and Kathy Evans in chat. Welcome. All right, let's move on to our final news piece, because available in print and PDF from Goodman Games is Dungeon Crawl Classics Dying Earth number 10, Passage to the Manse of Erudite Wonderment. And here's the skinny. Dungeon Crawl Classics Dying Earth number 10 is, obviously enough, the 10th adventure in the Dungeon Crawl Classics Dying Earth product line. In this adventure, the party must survive a perilous journey across the wilds of the Dying Earth to the enigmatic home of one of the world's last magicians. Along the way, they'll have to overcome dangers both magical and mundane, not to mention the inter-party grudges. Dying Earth number 10, Passage to the Manse of Erudite Wonderment, was inspired by the DCC Dying Earth team's visit to the home of Jack Vance, wherein they enjoy the opportunity to view the famed writer's personal possessions and speak with his son, John Vance, about his father and his fantastical work. This is intended for second-level DCC Dying Earth characters. And of course, a copy of the Dying Earth box set is suggested in order to play this adventure. There's 26-page softcover with PDF, carries an MSRP of $10.99. You can grab just PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $7.99. Good to see more Dying Earth adventures come out. You might recall I reviewed the box set. I liked it. I thought it very nicely captured the world of Jack Vance's stories. Pretty nicely done. Pretty nicely done. Pretty good. DB is with us tonight. Very, very good to see you. Thank you for popping on in. All right, so that is it for the news this evening. Of course, I was just talking about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget the gaming gang. Thus, the Dispatch is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to go visit DriveThruRPG, Storyteller's Vault, Wargame Vault, any of those One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get 5% of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like the video, If you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always make a one-time donation by way of PayPal. We do have a link to do that down in the show notes. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Lovely. Yes. And big thank you to Robert Santon and Agile Monk for making one-time donations very recently through PayPal. In fact, a big thank you to Agile Monk because he effectively has taken care of the gas for the run down to Indianapolis for Gen Con and back. Pretty sweet. So thank you to both Robert and Agile Monk. And of course, I want to give a shout out to our Patreon members because each and every live stream, I like to say thank you to the various different members of our Patreon. So at the $5 level, we've got Gustavo Calvalho, Jason Lawman, Kuval, Kevin R. Smith, Marius Smith, Max Apocalypse, Patrick Brault, Sean O'Donnell, and Talzek. Our $10 members, Dan Webb, The Game Cat, Pete Stracklich, RPG Munch, Tessie Trekkie, and Tier 2 DM. And our $25 level members, the aforementioned Agile Monk and good friend of the show, the Madman, who has not been hanging out in chat because I think he's on vacation this week, as I have mentioned. Roger Perdome says for him, Jack Vance is always Planet of Adventure, one of the first science fiction and fantasy cycles they read as a kid in the 70s. I gotta be honest, I've never checked out Planet of Adventure. I don't know. Interesting. So tonight we are going to be taking a look at Ruthless Heavens, Boundless Fate from Blackoath Entertainment in just a little bit. I did want to mention, I'm just having a bad day. I am not having a good day today. And I don't know if people realize this, but a lot of times doing a live show is almost like, how would I put it? It sort of releases a lot of stress. As weird as that might sound, because I think a lot of people would think, wow, isn't like putting stuff together to do a live stream and then doing a live stream, talking to a camera, you don't know who's paying attention, what's going on. Isn't that stressful? And it's like, not really. Not really. So today I found that a friend of mine who I went to grammar school with, who I have stayed in contact with over the years, is sadly undergoing hospice care at her home. So she'd been fighting cancer for about 8 or 9 years now. And I don't ever say somebody lost their battle with any sort of health condition, because to me, that just doesn't, that doesn't ring correctly, you know? It's like, you know, when I shuffle off this mortal coil, I wouldn't want somebody to be like, oh, well, you know, Jeff finally lost his battle with XYZ. No, it's just, so yes, it's kind of a bummer. I mean, you know, I hadn't seen her in a long time. It's probably been about, I don't know, 10 years since I'd seen her, but yeah, just her husband had reached out to let me know. And I was like, ugh. And then, you know, and then you're like, what do you say? Yeah. What do you, I mean, I don't know her husband. I know of him. I mean, she shared a bunch of stuff online about him, obviously, but what do you say? I'm always at a loss for words. So words always fail me in situations like that. And I feel kind of like an idiot because you don't want to, you know, the condolences, it sounds, everybody says that, right? Condolences. Anyway, Shardell says, much love, Hefe. Anyway, like I said, doing the show is sort of like, I feel a little better. I know. It's kind of strange. Kind of strange. So, Relighter Gamers with us said, sorry to hear that. Yes. Says sometimes there's really nothing anyone can say. Yeah, I mean, that really is. I mean, what can you do? What can you say? I mean, you know, I don't want to use that term. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, the writing's on the wall. Anyway, so yeah, so I just mentioning that. You know me, I'm fairly transparent. So kind of like if the news portion of the show is a little off, it's kind of why. But okay. So something else I wanted to mention, if you are a fan of the show, if you happen to be like over on Discord, be sure to come hang with the gang over on our Discord server. There is an invite link down in the show notes. We do have some members only channels, which are only available for those out there who are Patreon members, but there's also tons and tons of other Discord channels on the server that you don't have to be a Patreon member to be able to access. And it was kind of funny because we were talking about Kolchak the Night Stalker, and I'm trying to remember who it was had asked, what role-playing game would I possibly kind of maybe utilize if I wanted to recreate kind of a Kolchak the Night Stalker kind of role-playing game experience. And funny enough, I don't think I would go with Call of Cthulhu. I don't think I would. I think I would look at something that's more designed for like one-on-one play. So there's Cthulhu Confidential, and that's from Pelgrane Press, which is more of a like investigative game than and not, as far as I understand, because I have not personally reviewed it, but I understand it's lighter on the, you know, the combat and stuff like that. Because if you think about it, Kolchak the Night Stalker, Kolchak's always getting thrown around by whatever monster he's fighting or what, you know, what have you, or he's hiding or he's running away. He's never like, all right, okay, I got my shotgun here. Let's go. No. DB says Monster of the Week, and I had actually mentioned that too, but I don't know anything about Monster of the Week outside of it being a role-playing game, which I thought Monster of the Week is kind of aimed towards like a supernatural sort of role-playing experience, maybe kind of X-Files a little bit. DB says a friend of theirs was at North Texas, played a Kolchak game using daredevils. Well, that's out of print. DB said they're going to go to North Texas next year just for that. Start playing the Kolchak theme music. That'd be pretty wild. That would be pretty wild. I also want to mention, thank you for some of the folks out there in chat sending condolences. So, I mean, yeah, it's a friend of mine I knew for decades and that, but I'm not like super close with her outside of like back and forth social media kind of stuff. Although I did kind of help her when she was making a career change, which she was always thanking me about. She every few years would be like, oh, hey, you know what? I forgot to thank you lately. I was like, oh, okay. All right. DB says Daredevils is still available at the Fantasy Games Unlimited site. I didn't even know Fantasy Games Unlimited was still around. I thought they were long gone. I wonder if it's just some company that's picked them up and they're just, just selling PDFs, selling scans of the books. Because wouldn't that mean Bushido's still around? DB says they're still rocking and rolling. Sweet. Very nice. Very nice. So anyway, I was talking about our Patreon. If you are interested in maybe helping to support the channel, the outlet, I guess I should say, because it's more than just a YouTube channel. Yes, there is a link to our Patreon also in the show notes. There's always a lot of stuff down in the show notes. Always. All right, so tonight, as I mentioned, we're going to take a look at Ruthless Heavens, Boundless Fate from Blackoath Entertainment. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Satisfy the kiddies with a bag of crisp, crunchy popcorn. And don't forget to get an extra bag or two to take to the car to munch on during the show. You will also want to take a supply of ice-cold soft drinks or delicious, flavorful coffee to keep you refreshed throughout the next show. Make the evening complete by getting a tasty treat for yourself and every member of your party. Make your visit to our theater a pleasant occasion to be remembered. We'll be richly rewarded with the thought that we have pleased you.
The Volkswagen Carmen Ghia is the most economical sports car you can buy. It's just not the most powerful.
It's the exciting new Daredevil Trick Track with the incredible Dolphin Racer, gear-driven for longer battery life. Daredevil Trick Track, full of fantastic tricks. A sensational new steering track. A wall of logs. A teeter-totter. And it's up, 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 and over we go. A somersault flip. And now, straight through a fly-apart house. Get Daredevil Trick Track, action-packed with tricks and tracks. It's thrilling, spilling, crashing, smashing. Daredevil Trick Track from Transogram, where the fun comes from. Wow!
This thing's sinking. Better throw out that Wilkins Instant Coffee.
Just me and Wilkins Instant for 80 whole days.
The distant stars. The lonely, helpless earth. The 21st century. The world of the future. And lurking beyond the cold, strange immensity of conquered space. Growing and spreading beyond the warped imagination of the greatest human intellect. Exploding in unspeakable horror. The green slime. The civilized world at war with alien form, whose slimy touch means instant, horrible death. Invaders from beyond the stars. The green slime. Robert Horton. Luciana Paluzzi. Richard Jacob.
You make too many mistakes. You're not right for command.
This is my command, and I'll manage it.
Two men struggle for survival in the infected remains of a diseased universe. One woman searches for a last chance to save the human race from the desperate hunger of the green slime. A battle in space against faceless beings. A cosmic nightmare that sends you into the incredible, berserk world of green slime! Green slime! Green slime!
I like that Volkswagen commercial. It's kind of funny. It's like it can't bust through. Like, nice. Yes, the green slime. You're watching, they're like, whoa, man, look at the bodies and stuff. And they're like, oh, man. And then all of a sudden you get to see what they look like. And you're like, wait a second, what? That's the green slime? Really? Really? Roger Pertome says they remember being so scared when they watched that the first time. Kevin R. Smith is with us in chat. Yes, he knew what film we were checking out there in the brief intermission. Very nice. Very nice. All right, everybody. Oh, you know what? Before we jump on in, something else I wanted to mention. Monty Cook Games is sending me a bunch of stuff. So we are going to, I think we're going to do Monty Cook Games month for July, because in transit is Cypher System, High Noon at Midnight, Magus, is it Magus Archives? The horror role-playing game that's based on the podcast. That's another one. And then, gosh, I'm trying to remember. There's a fourth item. And it's funny because it's not available in PDF. It's available for Windows. So Warren Rollins says, Tolus? No, that's not one. Okay. So it's Magnus Archives. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, I was going to say, a magus would be somebody like a magician or something, right? So cool. And who knows, maybe we'll actually set up an interview with Monty Cook Games at Gen Con. So I'm going to reach out. I'm starting to try to set up my interviews for Gen Con. I'm probably going to do like 4 or 5 a day at most. I don't run all over the place like a lunatic, like Elliot and I did way back in the day. Sean Dell says, nice. Always been curious about their stuff since they hired someone that Sean knows. Sweet. We will kick off with a look at Cypher System because that's what everything is built around. Even Numenera Numenera came first, but the core system, the mechanics are the Cypher System. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, today we are going to be taking a look at Ruthless Heavens, Boundless Fate from Blackoath Entertainment. This 320-page hardcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $55 at DriveThruRPG. If you want to just get the PDF, you can do so for $20. All right. Swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Ruthless Heavens, Boundless Fate. A couple of things to mention before we get stuck in. First of all, the fine folks over at Blackoath Entertainment were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this first look with you. It's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the book, but I do want to give you a good feel for what you're going to find inside. All right, so come, Ascendant, and embrace your fate. Ruthless Heavens, Boundless Fate is an epic role-playing game of cosmic adventure and power cultivation inspired by the LitRPG genre, which, as I mentioned last night, I'm like, I'm not really a fan. But I did not mean anything derogatory towards this game. I'm just saying, I just really don't do LitRPG. In it, players play as ascendants, powerful characters that, due to a combination of talent, luck, and sheer determination, have become the de facto rulers of their nations. Unfortunately for them, this means little in the cosmic scale, and they quickly find out that they are at the bottom of the power ladder. Their planet has been introduced to the path of ascendancy by the Ruthless Heavens, and as such, the rest of the Nolurian sector is now aware of its existence. It falls to them to become strong enough to protect their homeland, exploring the sector for new opportunities while sending them resources so they can eventually be strong themselves. Through hard work and fortuitous encounters, they will have the chance to do so while reaching new heights of power and civilization. Mark Hawkswell is with us in chat, popping on in. Good to see you. Says, are there any distinctive features of the lit system that are particularly unfun? I like my fiction to be fiction. I don't like my fiction to be presented in game mechanics terms. So, all right. So first thing we're going to do is take a peek at the credits page. A lot of folks worked very hard on this to bring this to life. So let's give credit where credit is due. So we've got our character creation section. We've got our core rules. Then we get into the Nolurian sector, locations of interest, antagonists and beasts of the Nolurian sector, treasure and gear. And that's how I guess we wrap up, is with treasure and gear. Okay, that's pretty cool artwork. Like I had pointed out when we first started the show, the cover kind of reminds me a little bit of the French artist Mobius. But that was pretty nice. Okay, so this is the same information that we saw on the back cover. So influences: Dungeon Crawl Classics, Ultraviolet Grasslands, Masters of the Universe, Scavenger's Reign. I haven't seen that yet. Everybody recommends it. I caught like a few, I think like a trailer or something. The animation style just wasn't grabbing me. Flash Gordon comic. There you go. There's Mobius. Some of our themes here: personal responsibility, magic versus technology. With power comes responsibility. But that isn't that with great power comes great responsibility? And wild exploration. So 6 different dice are utilized. So D20, D10, percentile, D4, D6, D8, and D12. So our standard polyhedral dice. Creating your ascendant. So there are 5 different ranks in Ruthless Heavens, Boundless Fate: Initiate, Adept, Archon, Hegemon, and isn't that Eidolon? So each rank is divided into 10 levels for a total of 50 levels. How progressing through each level and the different ranks works is explained further on into the book. All right, so our attributes. These pages are sticking together there a little bit. If you are wondering about the production quality, paper's solid. I think this is a POD from DriveThruRPG. It is glued binding. just so you know. Relighter Gamer says they like how easy it looks to read. Yeah, it does. It's not bad. Font's a little bit smaller. Now, keep in mind, this is kind of, I think this is a little bigger than an A5. But this is not your standard, 11 by 8.5. All right. Strength, constitution, dexterity, intelligence, spirits, and presence. So spirit's kind of our wisdom-ish. Presence is our charisma, charm, and ability to influence others. Are we rolling 3d6? Are we doing 4d6 and then dropping the lowest? So it looks like our modifiers run from, if we're doing 3 to 18, it's -4 to +4. That's pretty wild. We got hit points. We have defense rating, which is modified by the armor you wear. So your defense rating is 10 plus your dexterity modifier. So are we looking at having a target number? Mateo's with us. Said they thought from the thumbnail this was an Ultraviolet Grasslands book. It is not. So we have saving throws. Honestly, I think we're probably looking at this being kind of built on the mechanics of like maybe Dungeon Crawl Classics, because it did say that that was one of the RPG inspirations. So we've got different domains, ancestries. We've got different species, it looks like. Yep. So we have Solarians, widely known as humans. They're a versatile species that's spread all across the Nulurian sector. We have the Veskians. They are a reptilian race known for their technical prowess, or I should say technological prowess and pragmatic approach to life. We've got the Hiveborn, which are insectoids, known for their advanced intellect and communal lifestyle that have long maintained a policy of isolationism, preferring to dwell within their subterranean cities and avoid any potential surface issues. However, their peaceful existence was shattered when they were forcibly inducted into the path of ascendancy. The Lyri are a feline race of remarkable elegance and grace, possessing a deep connection to nature that has allowed them to carve a unique niche in their world. Oh, we got quite a few species to choose from. That's cool. We've got the Talonsong. They're an avian race whose culture revolves around the celebration of music, dance, and the boundless beauty of the skies. Okay, so those were our choices there. We also have a lineage, which is going to give you some modifiers to your attributes. And I guess also some bonuses depending on your level. Do we have careers here? Is this what we're going to look at? Oh, our classes. Okay. We have soul. In Ruthless Heavens, Boundless Fate, the soul is not merely a metaphysical entity, but a tangible force that governs an individual's power and spiritual growth. It is the essence of life, the spark that animates a being and connects them to the universe's underlying energies. Through cultivation, meditation, and challenging experiences, individuals can strengthen their souls, unlocking greater control over their powers and deepening their connection to the universe around them. The soul is a source for both strength and enlightenment, shaping one's fate and allowing characters to leave a permanent mark in the universe. Okay, we've got the Beastmaster as one of our classes. The Ecosian Thermitage the Life Warden, the Plague Shaman. Plague Shaman are both feared and respected everywhere across the Nulurian sector. They specialize in dealing with all sorts of infectious diseases and substances, both to the detriment of their enemies and the benefit of their allies. Thanks to their knowledge of poisons and decay, they can slowly but surely whittle down any opponent, regardless of their power. This makes them both extremely hated by their enemies and cherished by their allies. They're often the first target for enemy squads as soon as their powers have been identified. Aha! Okay, so we got the Shade Walker. Wonder if they're kind of our rogue character. The Sharpshooter, so that's our archer. Vanguard of Ios. Legends speak of the terrible battle that took place millions of years ago on the planet of Ios, where a relentless savage invading force launched a surprise attack that threatened to destroy the world. It is said that despite not being a particularly powerful faction, the warriors of Ios possess a determination and mastery over the art of battle unequaled by anyone in their sector. Thanks to them, the invasion was stopped, and their legend lived on to this day. Okay, must say, so far, reading through, flipping through this looks kind of cool. It does. Zenith Guard. Then we've got backgrounds. So it looks like there's quite a bit going on with your characters. I will say, though, issue with some of these pages being glued together up here. So it's not that easy to pull them apart. So, and sadly, of course, it's damaging the page because of the glue. But that is more of a DriveThruRPG thing. So we got skills. So we have common, rare, and epic skills. Here are some of our different skills here. So we've got, oh, these actually look more like feats. Even though it says skills, these look like more almost spell-like abilities. Give you an example here. We've got like astral projection, bulwark, dark vision, iron body, fire flesh, portal, poison splash, shockwave, thunderstorm, venom cure, watery grave. And then it gives us a breakdown of these various different skills. Okay, so as an example, evasive strike. Your expertise with your armor allows you to move and react as if you're one with it, surprising your opponent. So this is a combat skill. Its domain is armor. Usage, ever flowing. I don't know if that just means something that's always on. One standard action. It's melee range. Target is one creature. Perform a standard attack with your weapon. You gain +1 DR until your next turn. Maybe that's like a damage rank. And then you can also upgrade these skills. Heal Companion. You channel raw essence and ether into your companion, closing their wounds. Rewind. You force time to flow backwards, if only for a moment. Target can reroll any failed check. Relighter says damage resistance, maybe. Oh, yeah, you know what? You're probably right. You're probably right on that one. But I thought it was an attack. Telepathy, 1,000 fists. You create a storm of strikes in front of you, pummeling your targets multiple times per second. Perform a standard attack check that deals 2d8 plus strength modifier, bludgeoning damage. And then you can upgrade it to include an additional target. I guess you can target 2 creatures. So it would give you 3, and then another upgrade is +1 damage. That doesn't seem like much. Melwinius from York says Blackoath has a lot of decent games. They do have quite a lot of games. I have a few of them that have been sent along. So remember I was talking about how, hey, we're going to look at some smaller independent publishers. This is what I was talking about. Age of Adventure is with us. Welcome. Good to see you once again. Okay, so combat. The attack roll is a D20. You add the corresponding attribute modifier, which varies depending on the weapon used. Instead of comparing the final roll to a target number, we use the target's defense rating. So that is the DR. If the total then equals or exceeds the target's DR, the attacking character scores a hit. Wow, that sounds pretty familiar. Armor class, damage, I should say defense rating. See, I thought the defense rating might turn out to be like armor, right? Aren't like soaking damage. I guess not. We do have some critical hit tables. So force, lightning, we got different, quite a few. Poison, psychic, slashing, radiant. The armor worn by characters is a crucial factor determining their defense rating. Keep in mind, though, that characters can only use armors they have the correct domain for. For example, a character wearing light armor must have the armor light domain. A character's dexterity is added to the character's, or I should say, to the armor's DR to obtain the character's final DR score, except when wearing heavy armor. Okay. And it looks like we have a usage die here. So if you're not familiar with a usage die, I think it first appeared in Black Hack. I'm a fan of the usage die because I'm a firm believer that you should be tracking resources, but I also don't think you need to get into the, minutia of every ration that gets eaten, every arrow that gets fired. That I'm not too thrilled with. So a usage die basically is a die. So as an example, let's say you've got a good amount of something, so you'd have a D8. And every time you use it, you roll that D8. And most of the time with games that use the usage die, it's a 1 or a 2. And that way you're looking at a 1 or a 2 makes you drop down a die size. So you'd go from 1d8 to 1d6. Now you're rolling to 1d6. If you get the 1 or a 2, now you're down to a 1d4. And if you do 1 or a 2, then you're out. Age of Adventure says, I love tracking every arrow. Maybe serious? Maybe sarcastic. I don't know. Melanius from York says, damn, Jeff, a conundrum. Should I get Ruthless Heavens or Cur Nathalis? I don't know. Is that another Blackoath game? I wouldn't be shocked if that's another one that was sent to me. I have to take a peek because I have Sorcery and Salvage, which we took a look at. Oh, okay. Age of Adventure says, no, they're serious. They like knowing what they have left. Yeah, I mean, something like that is fine. But it's like a lot of times where if you're playing a game where if you fire a bow and you roll to see, recovering arrows and stuff like that, to me, that just starts getting a little too, it's too much minutia. Got to remember, I don't have an opportunity to get my gang together all that often. So I try to get as much adventuring into our sessions as we possibly can. All right, so there is a discussion of the usage die. It is exactly as I explained. So D20 drops to D12, D10, D8, D6, D4. 1 or a 2, you decrease the size of the die. Playing without a game master. So we got some info about Solitaire. I will say that it appears that there are some game concepts that are being cribbed from other games, which is fine. We talk about this all the time, where, you know, you can't copyright mechanics. But it looks like this also has a good amount of setting info to it. So one thing I would be curious about, as far as, and this is probably pretty much from all of the Blackoath Entertainment games, what kind of support do these games get? Because as was already mentioned by Melwinius from York in chat, they've got a lot of different games. I don't know how heavy the support is for the games. And you know what I mean? Like, we've got companies out there that you see a lot of games from all the time. I'll give you a great example. Well, okay, maybe this isn't a great example, but Gallant Knight Games always seems to be releasing a new game. I don't know how many like supplements for their already published games or adventures and stuff like that they actually have. That's what I'm kind of curious about. Relighter Gamer says, I can see it now. Every second you're underwater, -1 breath from your lung capacity. Showdown says, in Cthulhu Hack, you tend not to roll your ammo usage die till after a fight, which is kind. That's how it is with Black Hack. It's after the fight you roll your die. Okay, so it looks like this might be more Game Master facing here. Although there are rules to play this without a Game Master. This is all about the Nulurian sector. Got a lot of tables in here too, which will appear to those of you out there who enjoyed the old school Renaissance. So it looks like you're going to build your own capital. So it's almost like a base building sort of aspect to this, because you've got alchemy labs, barracks, clinic, fortifications, explorers guild, trading post. Here we have locations of interest. Are we going to get an introductory adventure here? I don't know. I don't think we do. Because then we see that we wrap up with equipment and gear. Well, I would certainly say you're not getting cheated out of content. That is for sure. Showdown says not knowing exactly how many shots in your gun is very scary. Kernathalis is a solo dungeon system from Black Oath. You know what? I think they sent it to me. I'll have to take a peek. If they did, we'll look at it next week. I'll tell you that right now. We won't look at it on Tuesday because, you know, I don't necessarily like to go back to back with the same publisher. But okay, so it looks like, is this a bit of a hex crawl? So we're getting some hex numbers here. All right. Hang on. What is this? Is this an adventure? No, these are still locations. I saw the phase 2, The Outpost. I thought, oh, maybe this is part of an adventure. No, I think these are, Destruction of Outpost 510 FT. This is a divine decree. I think maybe that is an adventure. It is no secret that the Ruthless Heavens despise technological advancement above everything. Although few dare to say it out loud, most understand that it is a direct threat to the path of ascendancy and its teachings, due to the fact that it presents an undeniable path to power that is potentially available to anyone without much effort. Huh. Yeah, because it's got like phase 1, phase 2. Got key locations and stuff. All right. So these are events. Real Lighter Gamer says maybe it's like the landmarks in One Ring. That's possible. Max Apocalypse has joined us in chat. Welcome back. Okay, so this is our bestiary with some of our antagonists and monsters. Here's our treasure and gear. Talking about our currency. Our simple weapons, martial weapons, exotic weapons. Ammunition. And buying ammunition increases your usage die by 1. Troy Cornelson has popped on into chat. Welcome. All right. Valor marks. Wondrous items. The Nolurian sector is packed to the brim with ancient treasures left by long-gone civilizations, as well as the product of hundreds of crafting clans and industrious individuals, many of them lost, but waiting to be found by a lucky ascendant. A large part of an ascendant's power comes from what sort of wondrous items they have in their possession. They often mean the difference between life and death. Max Apocalypse says critter stat blocks are well laid out and the art looks pretty cool so far. Yeah, I've been impressed by the artwork. There are a couple of pieces that almost looked like they didn't fit in. They didn't have as much detail as the rest, but still, all in all, pretty solid. We have living weapons. And I'm telling you, this is jam-packed. And this is actually more than 320 pages. It is 323 pages in total. All right. That is a peek inside Ruthless Heavens, Boundless Fate from Blackoath Entertainment. Once again, this is available. I believe this is print on demand from DriveThruRPG. Carries an MSRP of $55 for the hardcover plus PDF. If you want to just grab the PDF alone, you can do so for $20. Of course, I will have a review of this in the not too distant future. Curious. See, one thing I noticed with some of the print-on-demand books is that as you're paging through them, the spine kind of gets off a little bit, a little off center. This actually went right back to normal. Some books I've had, it's like, hey, what the hell, man? You're like, come on. So there you have it. Okay, Relighter Gamer says, can't wait to hear my thoughts. Oh, I'm on the game. Oh, okay. Max Apocalypse says, add it to the stack. Relighter says from what it looks like so far, this is their type of game. Yeah, very nice. Once again, like I said, I will check because I want to say I think I've got 2 other games from Blackoath that they had sent. And one of them might be that Solitaire Dungeon Delve. So if that is the case, we will take, like I said, we'll take a look at that next week. It just won't be on Tuesday, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. All right. Very nice. So that's it for this time out. If you were watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, bigger thank you, because not only were you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company as I'm sharing the news of the day or unboxing a game or flipping through a book. Of course, I know a lot of folks out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter how or when you watch, even if it's on Memorex. I really do appreciate you taking time out to watch any of the over 2,200 videos you'll find here on the channel. Yes, that's right, over 2,200. And if you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I share other videos, such as my recent review of Call of Cthulhu, the Sutra of Pale Leaves, Twin Suns Rising from Chaosium Inc. and Sons of the Singularity. All right, everybody. Max Apocalypse says, go back to video number 1. Jeff's 10 years old. Yes, it's all in 16 millimeter. It's not even video. Ay, 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 ay. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. And as I always like to say, I certainly hope every single one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.